Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this Monday morning with Business Coach Moloy. And today, interesting day because we end the sales series today. So we are on the final episode of the sales series. We'll talk about what next. So today is just not another session. Today we close this chapter. And over the past several weeks, we have not been discussing how to sell more, and we have been exploring something much more deeper and at the subconscious level on how to build sales as a capability within the organization. Because businesses don't struggle due to lack of effort, they struggle because effort is not supported by structure. And you would know that unless sales moves from an activity to an architecture, growth will always feel inconsistent, which we call the feast and the famine mode. Today, I want to do two things. First, bring together everything we have discussed into a single picture. And second, translate those ideas into concrete disciplines that you can implement. If you watch this episode, I think you will have enough and more action points that you can go out and implement in your business as far as sales is concerned. But if you want to go deeper into any of these topics, you will have to go back into the YouTube channels and look at each of those episodes that I've done on sales. If you still struggle, please remember we are always there because our mission is to help 1,000 entrepreneurs on an annual basis. So let's start with the first biggest realization. Sales is not an event, sales is an outcome. Sales is not what happens at the end of the month. It is what happens when clarity, trust, positioning, discipline, and knowledge align. If customers hesitate, it is not only a sales issue. If negotiations become difficult, it is not only a pricing issue. If pipelines fluctuate, it is not a lead issue. Sales results are signals that reflect how well the entire business connects with the customer. And once you start seeing sales this way, you will stop trying to push harder and start building better. Unfortunately, especially in the MSME space, many organizations are still dependent on individuals, a founder's network, a star salesperson, a few long-standing relationships. Sales cannot be a personality driven sales. We have to move it into a process driven sales. This is not a system that we are building by depending on individuals. That is dependence. Sales excellence happens when you define the process, how leads are captured, how they are qualified, what defines a real opportunity, how proposals are constructed, how follow-ups are managed, how deals are reviewed. Without this, every salesperson improvises, and with improvisation, you cannot scale. Sales must move from the heroics of the star salesperson to repeatability. So, what is this entire series that I did spend a lot of effort and time into designing this series? So, what has that series taught us? I have learned a lot during this course when I was designing the sales series. The core pillars of sales. So, if we distill all our sessions, I can arrive at 5 pillars. Clarity. Customers must understand why you matter. Qualification. Not every inquiry deserves equal energy. Consistency. Pipelines grow through rhythm and not bursts. Confidence. Value must be communicated before price. And continuity. Relationships should be nurtured beyond transactions. These are not techniques, these are organizational habits. And unfortunately, in many organizations, the founder has built this habit, but it does not percolate down to the team. And hence, Sales must be managed through numbers and not assumptions. Most companies track revenue but not conversion behavior. You must know how many inquiries become discussions. You must know how many discussions become proposals. You must know how many proposals convert. You must know where deals stall. You must know how long decisions take. Every business has a different sales cycle. These ratios reveal where improvement is needed. Without this visibility, sales conversations remain anecdotal. Numbers can never replace judgment, they sharpen it. Qualification, which is the most underused productivity tool, a major lesson we have learned was that sales teams spend too much time being polite to the wrong opportunities. Every serious opportunity must answer, is there a defined need? Is there a decision authority? Is there a realistic timeline? If these are missing, nurture but don't chase. Good sales organization focus energy where momentum exists. The next, proposals must create understanding, just not provide information. Most proposals describe products, most brochures describe products, most communication describe products. Strong proposals interpret the customer's problem. They show consequences, quantify impact, reduce perceived risk. When proposals are generic, customers compare price. When proposals are insightful, customers evaluate value. Follow up, the most critical element of a sales cycle, is not a system. Follow up is a system and not a reminder. Sales teams often follow up emotionally when they remember, when they feel pressure, when targets approach. Professional organizations design cadence. Every interaction must lead to a defined next step. Movement, not repetition, drives conversions. Negotiation, which most salespeople fault at, negotiation reflects your preparation. Unfortunately, most individuals, most sales professions spend the least amount of time in learning the core subject. If you don't know your core subject, you can never be a sales professional. You're there to solve a customer's problem. You're there to provide a solution. If you're not there, if you are trying to sell a product, trying to sell a service, you are never going to be successful. And when it comes to negotiations, unless you know what is the customer's problem and how does your product solve that problem, you will always falter and you will get stuck on pricing. Because it is us as entrepreneurs and as sales professionals who have not prepared ourselves for that next meeting. Price resistance is often blamed on the customer. In reality, it reflects incomplete value communication. Organizations must define when flexibility is allowed, what must be changed for concessions, who approves changes. Negotiation must be designed, not improvised. And on top of that, what we forget is retention is the quiet engine of sales growth. New clients create momentum, retained clients create stability. Sales effectiveness must be measured not by the acquisition, but by repeat business, share of wallet, longevity of relationships. Retention compounds results far more than constant acquisition because your CAG, your customer acquisition cost, is going to be high. Sales leadership is behavioral, ladies and gentlemen, not instructional. Sales cultures mirrors leadership behavior. If leaders prematurely negotiate, teams do the same. If leaders demand clarity, teams prepare better. If leaders value long-term trust, teams build relationships accordingly. Sales discipline starts at the top, as with any other business function. And finally, the goal of a sales maturity is predictability. The highest stage of sales maturity is not aggressiveness, it is predictability. Predictable pipelines, predictable conversion patterns, predictable customer engagement. Predictability allows planning, investment, and scale. And once sales become predictable, a new question emerges. How do we expand demand itself? And that is what naturally leads us to marketing. Sales converts opportunity, marketing creates preferences. Sales explains value, marketing establishes its beforehand. When marketing is weak, sales must start before every conversation from zero. When marketing is strong, customers arrive already informed. This is why my next phase of growth in this Facebook Live series that I'm doing will shift from selling to positioning. Not promotion, not advertising, but how the market thinks about you before your sales conversation begins. As I close today, and as I close the sales series, here is my closing reflections. Sales is not a department, it is an organization capability built deliberately over time. When clarity, structure, and discipline align, selling stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like progress. When sales matures, marketing becomes the multiplied effect. This is the journey we begin next. This is where we start talking in terms of how marketing and brand building will take your business to the next level. Thank you for being part of this sales series. I look forward to the next steps. I am personally looking forward to next Monday morning. I am personally looking forward to the start of month of March because that's where the entire effort of the business should be to build a robust business and a marketing plan for 26-27. We have just 5 weeks to go before we create that roadmap, before we create that bhag, the big, hairy, audacious goal, before we create that purpose for the business, purpose for the employees to come back every single morning and drive a business together. 26-27 will be the best year for all of us. Look into everything that is happening in the geopolitical sphere. Everything is directing that India, the place where we are, will see the best year ever for the small and medium businesses. Question that I should be asking, question we should all be asking is, are we ready for that? Are we ready for that exponential growth? Are we ready for that big leap? There is a leap of faith. Things will change. Things should change. It cannot be stagnant where it is and expect a different set of results. I look forward to starting this marketing series with you on the 2nd of March as we all embark on this journey of preparation for 26-27 through the arm of marketing. Till next Monday, same place, same time. Have a great week. Have a great Monday, and God bless.